Good morning, Thomas. How are you?
Jonathan, I am doing beautiful. And how are you, my friend?
Doing well, doing well.
Good. I know we were talking offline, so you know what? Why don't
Let's,
you discuss what we were talking, introduce it, and we'll
yeah.
hammer at it.
So why don't let's talk about Nvidia, the company from California. I just saw earlier today that their stock popped about like 9% on top of
Yeah,
everything else that I thought.
they came out with their earnings on last Wednesday. Yeah.
Yeah, so I just saw that. And how this company and these chips and AI and all this is going to influence our future. You mentioned that there's a new chip coming out, the Blackwell chip.
Blackwell chips supposedly are hoping like August to September, and you know, yeah, I know you just pulled it up on your screen. So why don't you just read it briefly so it gives our viewers an idea?
Yeah, so they're saying that the NVIDIA Grace Blackwell super chip is going to connect the two NVIDIA B200 Tensor Core GPUs. So I guess they're trying to figure out how to get these chips to be more powerful, and they're going to bring just everything to a new level. I mean, they've been everything the last few years. If you followed the stock, followed the company, they've grown exponentially over the last several years.
Oh, dude,
Uh,
I mean, the stock's over $1,000 a share.
Yes, I just saw another headline that it's saying Amazon is changed plans to order NVIDIA super chip to update their models. So there's going to be a
Oh, yeah.
huge reckoning
Th-
in the
There
system.
was there was actually I was watching Yahoo Finance TV, and they were interviewing somebody, and there was 8 companies, and Amazon was one, Target was another, that are in line to jump very quickly. They want to be first in line to get this new chip that's coming out. So this has got to probably be the common person looking at this going, what is this, like a supercharger chip or something? And then seemingly that's what it's going to be.
I mean, we're it's funny because I felt like we for many years, and you know more than me with this because every 5-10 years there's huge developments. Now it's seeming like every year there's leaps and bounds even more than the previous year. And I think it's going to continue to grow further than that. I mean, I saw a video last night on social media that they were doing like a head transplant or in the works of figuring out using robotics and AI and how to do a head transplant. So they're doing, crazy, amazing new technical things. And I'm sure you're going to see a lot more of these every month, every year. And I wouldn't be
Yeah.
surprised if you'll see more and more robotics being used in manufacturing more than now. And you'll probably start seeing robots on the street doing deliveries before you know it.
Oh yeah. Listen, I have somebody who used to be my babysitter as a kid. Their son actually went to somewhere up in Boston. I don't know if it was MIT or somewhere, but they went for robotics. They must be about 30 years old now, and they're working on some serious stuff where, they expect probably within the next 6 to 8 years. I know, your family's been in construction. Your grandfather, rest his soul, was a big player in the game. Um, where you're going to be able to have a team of robots, and with all this artificial intelligence, these robots are going to be like super strong, and they're going to be very productive. And you're just going to have, 1 or 2 people, physical human beings on site to make sure everything's getting done correctly. Um, it's going to be a game changer. It really is. And I had a conversation on Sunday morning with a friend of mine. He's from India, and he works. I don't want to say who he works for, but they're very much into the artificial intelligence. And he had said to me, he goes, Thomas, I'm going to tell you something. He goes, I know you're a bright guy, you stay on top of things, but no disrespect to you, you got no clue. And I mean, you have no clue what's coming. He goes, the most mundane jobs, are going to be taken over with AI. And he says, the more you feed this thing on a daily basis, it's going to become more and more of a monster. And he used that word, a monster. And like when I was chatting with him, it reminds me of the movie Terminator, the original one, where the machines took over. I mean, it sounds like kind of like, all right, you're getting a little bit too much fantasy sci-fi, but you really start thinking to yourself. And going back about 6 years ago, almost seven, my engineer was telling me about UBI, and I had no clue what it was. And he said, yeah, it's universal basic income. And, they're basically the government's going to pay people, not to work. They're going to give you a decent salary or whatever. And I was like, really? And the more I read into it after he told me that, it's slowly been gaining momentum. And in 2021, I think it was 6 or 7 cities in America that started doing UBI, Universal Basic Income, testing the markets. And now it's grown to over 700. It's just under 800 cities 3 years later in 2024. So the government's doing a litmus test by putting this out in different cities around America. So it's a new form of welfare. But here's the problem. Idle time's the devil's playground. That's the thing. And people are going to become addicts in other areas in a negative way. You know, that's the way I look at it.
Yeah, I mean, I know if I'm sure people are watching other social media channels, you'll see. I saw a couple months ago that they had the first fast food restaurants 100% automated, and everything else. I mean, you go to McDonald's, you go to, any fast food places, most of them now have no people tellers taking your orders. You
Yeah.
have to put it in yourself. Even
Like
like
it's like
the
a kiosk off to the side, right?
Yeah, Panera Bread did that a while ago. I mean, they still have
Really?
people. Yeah, so they're gonna find ways to make their business run smoother because with less people, it's gonna be a little easier probably without having problems with people not showing up, people not doing the right thing. But it's something that we're all gonna have to continue to be on the learning curve and figure out what's going on, what's next, how AI. I mean, we know AI is changing the world in different ways. I mean, you
Hmm.
could build websites with AI. Like they build you a full website in 30 seconds. It may not be what you need,
Wow.
but you can. They're doing everything. So, um, we're gonna have to, out there, we all should be educating ourselves every year, every month, every
Yeah.
day.
Well,
Uh,
I'll tell you this, like as it was said to me from my Indian friend, he's 49 years old. And he's a very, very bright guy. I mean, extremely bright guy. He said, listen, you had the first phase of computers that came in, in the 80s and early 90s, and they just started getting stronger, the computers. Then you had the internet come along, and they said that was going to be a game changer, which it was. Okay. So, you're putting the two together. He goes, now we're going into the third phase where it's going to be AI. So it's going to be interesting to see how this keeps up. There's a company that we are working with over the last 4 or 5 months where um, they're actually working with phone systems where it doesn't matter what the industry is. You call up and you'll be able to feel like you're with a live person. Just tell them what you're looking for, and they're able to keep inventory, know the lot numbers and everything else. And I guess it's going to be the part of negotiation if there is based on quantity of that, which I'm sure won't be an issue because they'll be able to program it that way. But even when it comes to legal stuff, they're actually working in the legal aspect of breaking down certain areas of legal where the artificial voice will be able to speak to you, and you don't know who you're speaking with. And I know we touched upon it a few weeks ago. Like a lot of us in America, when we call customer service for a company, we'll either get India or we'll get the Philippines, and we know it's because of the area we're getting a certain dialect. But with the artificial intelligence, these people are going to be able to speak to any person anywhere in the world, doesn't matter the language, and they're going to actually be able to change their dialect and not sound Indian or Filipino and sound like that person in that region they're speaking to. That's really crazy. That's almost like feel like you're being manipulated, when you're on the other end of the phone, you know?
yeah, I mean, there are many ways. I mean, with the AI, there are so many ways that you can utilize it for the best part of your business, your life. I mean, Google came out with Gemini, so Gemini is a new thing that they keep on trying to get people to install on their phone, install on their browser. You don't even have to read your emails anymore. It will sum up your emails that you're getting and tell you what they are, and probably respond to you if you want to. There are
Yeah.
ways of getting AI to respond to your emails for you. So it's going to be talked about, we talked about like mental health before, about people not wanting to see people. It's going to probably get worse. People are not going to want to talk to people anymore.
Yeah, Jonathan, man,
Yeah.
as I say to a couple of friends of mine, you know what? I'm glad I'm at this point in my career because I don't know what I would be doing if I'm like 22 years old, 30 years old, looking what's ahead because it's almost like discouraging to a certain degree. I'm sure if I was put in that position, I'm going to find a way to succeed because that's the way I'm built. That's my DNA. So, if you got a great personality, you're a good salesperson, you're always going to have a job because you can adapt. You don't have to know 100% about the industry you're going into because you're going to know how to create and form relationships. And I think that's still going to be here for a while, having those human relationships and forming them. So that'll be at least the bright spot of the situation. Anyway, listen, hopefully it's been creative knowledge for you. And we look forward to actually giving you some more information on our next videos. Please hit that thumbs up, like button. Please, share with people about our community. Yeah, guys, have a great day. Take care.